yes, there are very particular issues with marijuana and women, and it varies depending on the age of the woman. So if we start out with girls, let's say teenage girls, I think it's a very big mistake for teenage girls to take marijuana. Because why? They're in the developmental stage of their hormonal system. And paradoxically, marijuana influences the hormones in a very big way if you take it, and except for anything but very, very occasionally. It goes right into the hormone level of the body, and you don't want to set up that level of influence while you're developing that hormonal system, because what happens is your developing body, it develops in response to the kinds of actions that you're taking in the world. So if it comes to assume that marijuana is there as a stimulator, then it's going to adapt to that, and it's going to develop around that. So essentially what's going to happen is it's going to wind up influencing your hormonal system for your entire life. I don't think that's a good idea. Now, with older women, in the mid-range, again, we want to make a distinction between, is someone using marijuana recreationally once in a while? It's probably not going to do any very big damage if you, number one, if you balance marijuana when you take it. Number two, you don't take it too often. If you take it enough, it's going to wind up affecting your hormones. And what happens, and the deeper stages of what we call a jing in your body. One of the things that's most dangerous about marijuana in terms of Chinese medicine, we say it reverses the polarity of your jing, which means that in women, it will tend to masculinize you. Now, some women might think that's a good thing. Okay, but know what you're doing if that's what you're doing. So, but in terms of Chinese medicine, this isn't something that we want to do, because the polarity of our jing is the basis of the foundation of our longevity. So we want to keep our jing as polarized as we can for as long as possible, and that will give us a good foundation for longevity. This doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with your sexual orientation. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever. It has to do with your own innate being. Now, one question that we see coming up a lot is about marijuana and menopause. And this is something that I feel very, very strongly about, almost as strongly about as marijuana and pregnancy. I do not think it's a good idea to take marijuana if you're in menopause. Why? Because what I was talking about, it influences the hormonal levels, okay, on one level. That's just even thinking of Western medicine. But in terms of Chinese medicine, what are you dealing with when you're in menopause? This is a time when the yin is beginning to dry out. So this is a time of your life where you need to begin to consider what are you going to do to begin to supplement your yin. Do everything you can to begin to cool yourself down and be able to generate that yin for the rest of your life. You're building a new foundation for the last part of your life. So you need to build that yin in as deeply as you can. Well, here comes marijuana, which is a hot and toxic substance. So what happens? It begins to dry you up in exactly the areas that you want to be cooling down. It's very hot, you want to be cooling down. What are you thinking taking marijuana? It's just completely contraindicated. So I can't see any benefit during menopause for taking marijuana whatsoever.